This episode of Jujutsu Kaisen had me literally jumping out of my chair. Like, I was just so stunned by the absolute beauty of the art and animation of this week's episode. I'm gonna say it right now, like when I was watching this, I was reminded of the famous episode of Demon Slayer, the episode that put Demon Slayer really on the map, where everybody really started to take notice. Episode 19 of Demon Slayer, where everybody started to look at it as like, holy crap, this series is incredible, it looks so good, and that is the exact same feeling I got once again while watching this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. The staff, the team, Studio Mappa, the freelancers, everyone that has worked on this series, everyone that has worked on this episode needs to be praised. They need a pay raise. They have done so much good work for this series. It is unreal. Because I have read this part in the manga. And now seeing the absolute difference between the manga and anime, the anime, it's leagues above. It's leagues above the manga. I'm sorry. It's night and day. Like, don't get me wrong, the manga is good. But looking at the anime, it's night and day in terms of just the visuals, quality, everything. It really does what an anime should do. Bring a series to life and amplify it to a whole other level. That is what this has just done. I was so hyped, so giddy to watching this episode. Seeing Todo and Yuji working together like my brother, and they were going together taking out this special grade curse. It was so good. This was really a good example of why Jujutsu Kaisen is so good. There's so many good moments throughout this episode that really displays what this series has to offer. Example, besides the obvious with the fights and breathtaking animation, you got some really great comedy that builds upon the characters and the relationships. Like, that entire scene at the beginning of the episode, like when Todo and Yuji kind of arrive to the scene, and you see to where he's like, look, I understand, you're very upset, your friend is wounded, and even worse, our honeymoon got completely ruined as well. And I'm just like, Todo, never change. I love you as a character. You're just quite the specimen as a human being. I really love the man. Like, Todo is easily one of my favorite characters of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Gojo still, but just Todo as a character is just so fantastic. He has so much charisma and life, and honestly, that can be applied to so many characters within Jujutsu Kaisen, but just Todo and his relationship with Yuji is just so amazing. It's beautiful, and I just love seeing them work together and just seeing them fight side by side. And you have Todo teaching Yuji how to use Black Flash. There's so many incredible things about this episode, but I want to kind of dive into some other stuff about it. One is the scene with Todo walking up to Yuji and just slapping him, just giving him a big ol' slap. And in most anime, that type of slap scene would just have been like, a funny moment, and it would just break away from what the main purpose of what the episode was about. But when you actually look at fundamentally of Todo's slap, that actually was used for comedy, but also for character growth as well, and it really shows the bond between Yuji and Todo as characters, because if they weren't really good friends, Yuji would have just gotten very angry, violent, and started yelling at Todo like, why are you slapping me? Why are you hitting me? Why are you interrupting me in the middle of my fight? That's what you would see from a lot of different shows, or manga, or even other series that's not even affiliated with anime, and seeing Yuji not react in such a negative way showed that there was a complete understanding between the characters, and Todo was speaking facts. He's like, look, I understand, anger can definitely be a powerful tool to overwhelm your opponent, but sometimes that very anger can also harm you and cause you not to be able to do what you need to do. And you saw Yuji slowly losing himself at the beginning of the fight. He was letting rage and anger towards Mahito to kind of consume him, and when you see him come back thanks to Todo's slap, I'm like, this is how you use comedy. This is how you use use proper placed comedy with character growth to show the bonds of the characters. This is a great episode. Fundamentally, it is an amazing episode to just show all forms and aspects of what makes Jujutsu Kaisen so good as a series and why it is rapidly gaining popularity, why the sales from the manga is just jumping up in, constant sell volume, and then the anime as well as popular as ever, and you see it continuously trending. It's honestly a no-brainer just when you look at the sheer quality of these episodes. Like the previous episodes I watched to catch up to today's episode. Jujutsu Kaisen, man, it's really one of them series. It's like, it's surrounded by such high-quality stuff this season. It's surrounded by Attack on Titan. It's surrounded by Re:Zero. And then it's still standing tall, firm, and strong. Like, I am here. Do not forget me. I am a powerful series, and I will not fall as one of the best series of the end of last year and also the beginning of this year. Just really, this series is just something else. It really knows how to get me so hyped up. But let's get a little bit deeper. So let's talk about Black Flash for a second. I really do like the implementation of it, the way it's showcased, and how Yuji, when he finally got to actually use this ability that Todo was trying to teach him, Yuji was able to comprehend his own curse energy. He was able to really understand what his curse energy was, what he was using, and allowed him to fully realize what he might actually be capable of. Because when you really look at everything from the beginning of Yuji actually being able to use curse energy, he's just been throwing his fist and all that and fighting, and yes, he has a few techniques, but overall, he hasn't really actually been able to understand truly what curse energy really is up to this point, and him being able to use Black Flash like he did basically shows that he's come to a whole new level of understanding. He knows what it means to harness it, use it, and that, now he knows what it feels like to actually do an ability like that, which he might be able to replicate and harness in the future. It's definitely not going to be easy by any means, but just seeing that level of development, it's just good to see. So Yuji getting, power growth, getting character development, Todo as a character is just the best backup bro, just yeah, I mean, what's really not to love about this week's episode of Jujutsu Kaisen? I really do think that the animators of this series deserve so much praise. The staff deserves so much praise. Like, you don't see this level of quality often. You don't. You do not see the beauty of anime to this extreme often. It's very rare, and we're blessed at this time to have so many good anime airing at once that truly shows the passion of these different studios. For instance, Studio Mappa and its staff working on this in Attack on Titan, and then also White Fox that is working on Re:Zero. Just seeing the level of passion from these individual studios and just how much effort they're putting in, Mappa especially, they really do need all the praise they can get. And, just seeing their work and all that, seeing what they're capable of, I am so excited to finally be able to sit down and watch the Chainsaw Man anime when it does get animated by them. It's gonna be something fun. It's really gonna be something fun. I can't imagine how crazy and good that's gonna look in the future, because just looking at what they're doing with this, it really goes to show when you actually give a lot of care, time, and effort and passion mixed in to a story, you can really amplify something to a whole other level that really just makes people blown away. It's one of the reasons why I think many people fell in love with Hunter x Hunter, and when you see just something like this, it goes to prove that point once again. But, yeah, this is a good episode all around. It's an action-orientated episode, and it's basically just, Yuji and Todo popping off and going up against a special grade and showing the bond between characters. Now, before I go any further and wrap up this video, I know many are probably wondering why haven't I, been doing, Jujutsu Kaisen videos. It's been a bit. It's been a few weeks. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks or so since I've, done a Jujutsu Kaisen video. And the reason for it is catching up with the manga. I caught up with the manga about a few weeks back, and I've just been kind of, sitting on it, thinking about it, and then I was just, waiting for, the anime to get a little bit further before I could sit down and binge it a bit, and here I am, and I'm glad I binged it. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun binging Jujutsu Kaisen and watching these episodes. It's really quite the experience, just especially seeing back-to-back quality where it doesn't dip below, personally, an 8 out of 10 in my opinion, in terms of quality. But, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and, yeah. Anyways, be safe, stay healthy. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, like this video, please leave a like, and with that, Chibi out.